Hi, and welcome back to AFTV and welcome back to another AFTV FANZONE. I'm joined by James. James, you well?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm drenched.
Yeah. The weather is
horrendous today.
Absolutely horrific.
Horrendous. Well, listen, today's conversation is a FANZONE, so you know what that means. You can download the AFTV Plus app and join us on the conversation. And I really want to look at all angles of this conversation. It might be a little bit of a debate, bit of back and forth, and I want to hear difference of opinions here. What do Arsenal need to do differently this season to get it over the line? What do we need to do to win the Premier League title this year? Last year, we narrowly missed out, coming second to Man City. But what can Arsenal do differently this year to make us win the title? And I don't want to hear, this is just straight away, a warning to all callers, don't waste your time in jumping on and just saying we need a striker. Please. That the whole fan base is talking about it. I understand that. That is very key.
What if that is? What if that's the one thing they think we need? What if it's add a goal scorer and that will get us over the line? I think everyone's talking about it. I think there's an obvious answer. But I don't think that, as well, also, I don't think that actually wins us the Premier League title, in my personal opinion. I don't think that gets over the line. That might be your opinion, but I want you to look a little bit deeper, please, because otherwise every caller is going to come on and say, we need a striker, Ivan Toney. I hear it. James, I don't think, if I open my DMs right now, go and tell Eddie we need a striker. And I'm aware. I think a lot of us are. We need a striker, but I also think we need a midfielder. I think that's just as important as well, especially with the injury history of Thomas Partey. But anyway, we're going to get into it. We're going to get into some of the things that me and James feel is the best solution. Getting a striker may be part of that, but what else? What else can we bring for the best opportunities for Arsenal to win the Premier League title? Look at Arteta after last season. He ended the season probably sore from the fact that he didn't win the Premier League title and looked at it and said, we need to improve on the goalkeeper position. I didn't see that. I can predict probably 90% of the fan base wouldn't have said goalkeeper is a position we need to improve for us to get us over the line. But he's looking at it from a different angle. I want us to kind of take that mindset and look at it differently. Do we need galvanization? Do we need something that will kick us on? Do we need to do the us against the world? I don't know how that comes about. Maybe it is the VAR stuff. Maybe that is the extra 1% you need. These are the conversations I want to be having. I mean, there's so many different things that we can talk about. You know, there's not just us in the title race. Liverpool seem to be back. They might argue they're not all the way back yet, but they're going to be up there. I believe that. That's another added pressure to Arsenal getting it over the line. We got Champions League football this season. We haven't got one game a week like certain other teams. What ways do we do? Some people might even come on and say, once Pep leaves, we can win the league. that's a valid, I'll give that as a valid argument. I'll be real. But yeah, those are the sort of conversations I want to be having in this FANZONE live. We have an hour to discuss it. Like I said, I have James. We're going to get our opinions. But first, I do want to timestamp why we're doing this video and why we're having this conversation. This time last year, I stupidly brought a Premier League tabletop. It's literally this time last year, we played 14 games. I know currently we're at 12, but at this point, we was going into the World Cup. We have just played Wolves. We beat them 2-0. And I'm going to play a video just to kind of times... You pricks. I didn't know they had that. I didn't know they had that. They had that. There it is. In all its glory. Look at that. That picture is crisper than the shots of us either side.
I know.
Look at that. You can see that played 14, 112, draw. You can see, is that a plus 22 goal difference?
Plus 22 goal difference,
that
37
clear
points.
As anything.
And I was going to break it down with a video, but they've got the photo there. So if you look at the table there, Man City, I believe they were 5 points behind us on 32 points.
They
we
went
on
into
37.
the World Cup 5 points ahead of them.
I can't believe I'm analysing the most craziest moment of my year.
Do you regret it?
No, because I really enjoyed it. And I was with Abby yesterday on DR Roundup, and she enjoyed being at the top. Differently, she said, I never said we was going to win the league anyway, if I'm honest. I just printed a t-shirt, which can be seen as stupid. But I enjoyed every moment of last year, apart from when we didn't win. That month was sensational for me. Traveled the world and showed everyone I was an Arsenal fan. As much as heat I got and hate I got, I don't regret it.
What does it say on the mug?
Don't let anyone take you for an idiot. So basically, don't let anyone take you for an idiot. So there you go. Listen, it is what it is. It's a moment. But instead of me playing the video to encapsulate the moment, that encapsulates it right there. That was, the time we went into the World Cup and we were top of the league. Spirits were very high, but we missed out. So today's conversation, join us on FANZONE by downloading the app and let us know.
You do have a video, right? Post Wolves?
Yeah, do you know what? Let's play it as well.
Yeah,
Let's play it,
I kind of want to see what your thoughts were a year ago.
It's good energy. Let's see if we've got the video to play after Wolves. We just literally... the production are getting up for you guys as well, so you'll be able to see it. But while they get it up for you, I'm just going to read the super chat here from Ricky Proctor. Falling on your sword gets you songs and pity, not trophies. Skip the unearned arrogance, accept and fix howlers of Kai as 8 and Eddie as backup striker.
Yeah, I sort of can see what you're saying. I think they said we've got the video. Let's get the video, and then I sort of want to go into that super chat in a little bit more detail.
And now the now trouble with me.
So we are top of the league. I don't know if you can see, you definitely can't see me, but guys, we just beaten Wolves 2-0. Top of the league. It's very dark. Here we go. It's some like top of the league for Christmas. What a present this is. I'm buzzing. Very much buzzing. Robbie and I are still in the box having some drinks to celebrate. And I'm now going to go speak to fans. The best time to speak to fans is when things are like this. Everyone's in good spirits. Top of the league. You can hear them. We're going to be celebrating outside the stadium. What a special feeling. Oh my God, I'm actually buzzing. I love this. Come on, Arsenal.
Oh, mate. Bottle that up, man. Yeah. Fuck, Arsenal, please just do it this season.
Remind me, what was the record at Christmas?
The record, so
14 games.
Yeah, so we'd lost 1 and drawn 1, and we won.
Who was the draw with?
Oh, I should know this. We lost to Man United.
Southampton, it was.
Southampton.
Away.
So, and by the way, just for clarity as well, no one. So we betted everyone this season at that time last year as well. So Man City can't hit the same points tally that we hit at this point last season after 14 games. I know we played 12, but even if they win both their games, still, that was the best start to a season.
But this is the thing I want to say is that Arsenal operated at an extremely high level throughout the first half of last season. Even up to 23 games, 24 games, Arsenal operated at a really, really high level. It wasn't normal.
Yeah.
It feels normal because it's what Man City and Liverpool have had to do, is they've gone punch for punch in what has been the most high quality, incredible title races of some of the last few years. You think of not last season, but the season before, where City won the Premier League, Liverpool went for the quadruple. You go back to, I think, the 18-19 season, where, 98, 97 points, something like that. You know, those are the tallies they got to. Even when Liverpool did win it and they were miles ahead of everyone, they got to 99. The Centurions, of course, in 18 speak for themselves. Like, these teams were operating at levels the Premier League hadn't ever seen before.
That's a good point.
At a time where I believe the Premier League is more competitive than ever before, with the amount of managers, the amount of players. And people might say, well, isn't that a contradiction? I don't think it is. I think it is just testament to how good City and Liverpool were.
Yep.
And Arsenal got to that level. I know you got to do it over 38 games. I understand that. But we knew there were questions over the experience of the squad, the age, the squad depth or whatever. Arsenal got to 19 games and 50 points. Now, it's slightly skewed because we lost to Man City. So even if, all right, you subtract one of our wins against a team we played twice, and you get in that City result, still we were operating at an unbelievable level. And that's not normal. What is happening right now feels a lot more normal. I mean, I've got the league table in front. City, 9 wins, 1 draw, 2 defeats. That's still operating at a very high level.
That is.
Liverpool on 27 points, just a point behind, and Arsenal operating on 27. We've got a goal difference of plus 16.
Yep.
That's very, very, very decent. And yet we're still 4 off Man City. We are in great company. I know, unfortunately, it includes Tottenham and then Aston Villa below as well. But we are in great company for we are at the right end of the table, playing good football, not the football of last season. Okay. We're going to go into all this.
Yeah.
But I think Arsenal fans can be happy with what we've done, even though it's not where we were 12 months ago. It's very good.
It's very good. It's very good. You're right in what you said there, James. I don't know if you want to respond to the first super chat or if you want to bring up the...
Results-wise, may I say. It's very good results-wise.
It is.
There are questions about the football and
the fluidity
some of the
and
drop
that.
points.
Yep.
But taking a holistic view of it, I think we can be happy with it.
Well, this is what replying back to the first super chat in that sense, that I understand things may not have worked for me as a fan. Havertz hasn't worked yet. Eddie and Nketiah as a backup. I think, listen, it's not my favourite conversation to have, but also he did, I would say he won us the game at Palace in the sense that he got us the penalty. I know he didn't take it, but he got us the penalty. So he has come on and affected games that have got us points on the board. Let's not forget that. I think we do need to improve in that area, of course, but listen, it's not as bad. Like you said, if you look at it holistically, it's not as bad as everyone makes out. Robbie always tries to remind me that one game lost. And that was it. And you can question that. Like, we need to look at holistically. And
we should really be undefeated.
Yes.
I don't believe. Well, I believe we deserve to lose one game this season, and that was Chelsea away. That's the only game where I've thought,
right,
we don't.
We rode our luck.
If we lose, we have to just swallow this pill. But then we still fought back to 2-2, and so you could say, well, we earned that because we fought back at a time where we were doing badly. I don't think we deserve to lose the Newcastle game. Don't really think we deserve to win it either. And that really is telling of this new style of football that Arsenal are deploying under Arteta.
100%. I need to understand if the style of football is going to benefit us in the long run, because again, we started out the block so fast last season. Has Arteta learned from that? Is there a way that we're trying to slowly integrate a style of play that allows us to build for the back end of the season? But these are the conversations we're going to have with the callers. I'm going to read this super chat as well here from Ollie Blake. It says, great start to the season, but you still need to go Liverpool, City, United and Spurs. Get results there, and it's in our hands. How you think we'll do? Well, this was a perfect time to kind of bring up the graphic. But
yeah, bring it up. Go for it. I've actually got a response to Ollie there, but I think we should look at this first.
Well, you go into it from this.
So you've put together this graphic, points against the top 6 this season. Arsenal have played City, United, Chelsea, Tottenham. That's 2 wins, 2 draws, 8 points. Tottenham have played also 4 games against Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool and Chelsea. 3 of them at home for them, and they're on 7 points. Chelsea themselves have played City, Liverpool, Arsenal and Tottenham. They sit on 6. They've actually been turning up for the big games. Credit to them. City have played a game less than the other 3, but only 4 points. Lost at Arsenal, beat Man United, drew at Chelsea. Yeah. I think they'd have expected 2 wins and a draw from those.
Agreed.
Liverpool, only the 1 point. They've only played Tottenham and Chelsea, which tells you who they still have to face. They have gone to Newcastle, though, and won, so credit to them there.
Fair.
Man United have lost against Arsenal, Tottenham and Man City. So it shows you that Arsenal are doing their thing in big games, that maybe this new style of football is bringing something.
Yeah, some sort of pragmatic style or approach when it comes to some of the big teams. Of course, the stat is slightly skewed because a lot of them were home games. That super chat was right. We have to go away to these teams,
but I want to jump on that.
Go.
Now, I understand what Ollie's saying. I'm not having a pop at him here. We do need to go to these places, and they're very hard places to pick up points.
But do we credit getting it done?
Well, Man City went to Anfield last season. Let's go with his first team, Liverpool. They lost 1-0. They went to Man United last season. They lost 2-1. They went to Tottenham last season. They lost 1-0. City, I guess you'd flip in Arsenal for that. They went to Arsenal and won that game. Yep. Now, what I'm sort of trying to say here is, it's a little bit overdone, this whole you need to win at these places to win the league. Listen, it gives you a massive, foothold in the title.
And it's also, is it more belief for fans? Because I said just before we started, if we get a result at City and Liverpool, I think we can win the title. But realistically, that's not how football works.
You don't have to do anything. This is so basic. You just need to get more points than everyone else. and if you lose at Man City, but you never drop those stupid points at home, you're going to rack them up.
Yeah.
But then I say that Man City went and drew with Everton at home last season, lost at home to Brentford.
Yeah.
There's no set way. There's no one way to do it. When Pep Guardiola came in and said, I'm going to put Kevin De Bruyne and David Silva in midfield and basically have 2 10s with Fernandinho, and everyone said, that's too lightweight, over 38 games, you're not going to be able to do it. That is going to... The way he did it is going to get other people believing there is no one way to do it. Arteta's trying something a little bit different to last season's title race. I have my questions over it, but we're in and amongst the teams I want to be in and amongst. So I do worry about whether this team can turn it on and score the goals you need in a title race. But I don't think we can complain about... We can have our doubts, but I don't think we can complain too much about what Arteta and Arsenal are trying to do right now, because they've had to manage Champions League football, the first team going out week in, week out. And actually quite a tricky start to the season. And we are where we want to be for most things. I wish we were still in the Carabao Cup.
Same.
I'm disappointed about that. But that's kind of my only real negative. Otherwise, people can talk about losing at Newcastle. City have lost... Who did they just lose to? They drew at Chelsea. They lost at Arsenal. They lost at Wolves. Liverpool just drew at Luton and lost at Tottenham. There are disappointing results along the way for everyone, but we're up there with the best.
Well, this is the thing, and when I talk about this whole conversation and really looking at it, with a magnifying glass. Like I said as well to you off camera, I think if we have our fully fit side, we can win this league. I actually think pound for pound will be definitely up there, and I think it will take margins of luck, maybe a decision that will get us over the line. But I think we'll definitely be in contention. I think Liverpool are returning, but I think if we had our fully fit side, then we can really get over the line. But then I have to look at Man City. They're without Kevin De Bruyne and players like that. When they start to return, they have the experience and they have the know-how to get it over the line. So it's like, do I wholeheartedly believe that we can do it? What other small factors are there? There was a thing where after a couple of weeks ago, I was like, oh, we produce so many corners, James, but I think that's a small margin and we were not fulfilling. But recently, we scored from 2 corners this week. So I'm like, okay, so
Graham brought us out on Tactical Insight. 42% of our corners have led to a shot this season.
I really need to start watching that because a lot more.
That's a phenomenal stat.
That is a stat.
And I know we're going to get some callers now, but Ricky's just said in the super chat, James, you're right, you don't have to win those games, but if they are fellow title challengers, then they become 6-pointers and make a huge difference. Ricky, totally agree with that.
That's a good point.
But that's where we need to remember there's the home version of these games as well. And for City losing to Liverpool, United, Spurs on the road, they smashed Spurs 4-2 in that game. They smashed United 6-3 at home. They smashed Liverpool 4-1. At the Etihad, they did their business. And let's go into some callers, but I've prepared a list of things we need to do. And one of the things is absolutely be solid. The Emirates needs to be a fortress.
Has to be. That has to be. That we can discuss that as well. And I hope on there you have on your list potentially any mistakes Arteta may have made, in a sense of, there can be an argument for David Raya. Was that a right decision? I want to see callers kind of look deeper in the sense of, could the money of Havertz been invested somewhere else because we lack creativity? Could there have been a player that we could have got this is where I want to see and what is being said. That's what I kind of want to get to. But let's bring in, I believe he said there was callers ready. Let's do it. Let's
get Ollie in. Ollie, how you doing?
Hey guys. Yeah, not too bad. And yourself?
Yeah, good. Look, talk to us. How are you feeling about... Let's just start with finding out how you feel about Arsenal's title chances. Do you think this team's good enough to win it? Do you believe they'll win it?
Exactly like Cecil said, yes, 100%. I think if you look through the entire league, I think only City, in my opinion, have a better squad, not just, starting 11, but you look at the bench as well. And I think Chelsea have a lot of players, but obviously they don't have the Premier League provenness. They're all young. I think a lot of players in our team have now obviously had the experience from last season to push forward this season. And for me, I think the thing that we need to do differently from last season the most, and I think, I can't remember who said it, someone said it recently on AFTV, but it's just keeping those emotions sort of in control. I think it was James, you said this in relation to the fans of the Emirates maybe not being as hyped, but I think like you said, we kind of expect to get 3 points in a lot of these games, and that's what we need to expect. That when we play Burnley at home, no matter if they're maybe playing some good football under company and maybe they've got some young, exciting players, we have to be winning those games. And especially at times last season, I mean, Bournemouth, we kind of got a bit lucky there that we came back. If that was another day, maybe we don't come back in that. Obviously, Southampton as well. There were some games, especially towards the end, where it seemed like we maybe got a little bit complacent. So for me, the main thing is keeping those emotions at bay and just focusing on the next 3 points and picking up 3 points every week.
Emotions is a very, very good thing to look at, because do you know what? When people speak, I try and just look at comparisons. I look at City and it feels like they're not. I don't want to say they're emotionless because that just sounds awful, but it just seems like it's business until they get their trophy. But is it because we focus so much on Arsenal that we see the emotions? Because I think you're right. Zinni, I think, can be at criticism for being overly emotional. Mikel Arteta at times can be over emotional, but is that enough for us to say that that's a benefiting factor to us not winning the title? And I think there's definitely strength in the argument.
I said on further Arsenal because there've been criticisms about the Emirates crowd and whether it's been as loud and whether they've been as sort of up for it as last season. And I sort of said, well, maybe that's a good thing. Why does every game have to feel like a cup final? Why does, what makes the Man City atmosphere special when that 86th minute Martinelli deflected effort hits the back of the net is that it's a special moment. Now, we loved what happened against Bournemouth. But actually, if we asked ourselves, do we really want that often?
No.
Like, no, we don't. Like, how many last-minute goals we scored this season? The Declan Rice one.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. The Martinelli one's not last
Martinelli
minute,
was.
especially with added time.
Yeah.
There was basically 14 minutes of football probably still to play. What else? I mean,
That's probably it.
the Declan Rice moment was fantastic, and the Jesus one was fantastic. But they should be one-offs in the season. Last season we had
loads.
quite a lot of them. And it shouldn't be like that. From the Fulham last minute winner to the Bournemouth last minute
Aston
winner
Villa.
to the Aston Villa last minute winner, that's not how it should be. And I just think, actually, I don't mind if the Emirates is a little bit more cold. I don't mind if the fans are a little bit more like, entertain me. Like, I'm not saying that's how it should be, but a little bit more like, I'm expecting you to win, so win. And I think the players should be a little bit more like, we're expecting to win, let's win. Because I know that the Emirates are there when City are in town and United are in town and Tottenham are in town. And
I don't
that's
think
maybe
Arteta thinks like us, though. I feel like he thinks the transmission of energy needs to be always, which
I think he's changing his mind on that. Look at his style of football this season. What do you think, Ollie? Do you think he's changed his mind? Because last season it was blitzing teams so early in games. Do you think he is... You look at the way he plays the game now with this Arsenal group, that he's actually taking a few steps back and going, let's just try and pour some cold water on the occasion?
Yeah, I would say so. Obviously, we don't know 100% whether this is an Arteta thing, telling them to, hey, let's go get through 30 minutes with the clean sheet and then, put some pressure on before half time. Or it could just be the players. Maybe, last season it was something to do with, I guess, the crowd was really up for every game.
Yeah.
Look, I don't think it's the worst thing, especially against the bigger teams. You don't want to concede early goals. Man City, half the reason I think we won that game was because we kind of got through that first 10 minutes when they had a couple of chances. And outside, I think everyone agrees, outside that first 10 minutes, Man City didn't do anything attacking-wise really against us.
I completely agree.
And there's been a few games, I can't think off the top of my head, but there's definitely been a few games this season where early on in the game, we've had to get through 5-10 minutes, like at Bournemouth as well, away. Through 5-10 minutes, we were actually under a little bit of pressure. But as soon as we got through that, we started, playing better and then scoring goals as the time went on. I'd also just like to ask both of you, with the quality of this Premier League, how we see there's like a tiny gap between the top 4 or 5 teams, how many points do you think it will take for us to win the league this season? Because obviously, like you said, there were 99-point seasons, 100-point seasons, but I can't see anyone getting close to that. So what's your...
I still think it's a 90.
Last year was 89.
I still think it's a 90 tally. But the thing is, that City tally last season is the one I pick and choose how I use that one, because on the one hand it's like only 5 points behind them. Yeah, they rested with those last two games and really probably would have hit 95 if they wanted to. I think...
Like 93.
I think 92, 93 does it.
Right.
The last Liverpool City title race, I think it was 3-2 that did it.
Yeah, because if you think about the amount of points that it would take to get to 90, you can lose 8 games in a season and still get 90 points. And I think quite often when we do drop points, we immediately think that's it. City have done it now, they're just going to run away with it. Obviously this season it hasn't been so much the case because City have seemed to be dropping points. I mean, it happened last season as well, I guess, but we can go this season with maybe 3 defeats and 5 draws and still get, over 90 points. So I think, as well as, not only do the player or does the game day have to be a little bit less emotional all the time. I mean, games against Man City and Tottenham, obviously, I want there to be emotion from the players because occasionally that does get you over the line. But I also think the expectation, especially when there's something in the negative that happens, like a loss or something, I think our expectations, and even for the players, I guess, have to be like, it's in the past. We need to go to the next week and do what Man City do, and they may lose a game and then win 8 in a row. So I think that's something else we need to do.
Ollie, thank you so much for calling, mate. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Get speak soon.
Ollie.
Join us again.
I'm writing down all the things that people say just so I can.
Good. You note away. There's a few things I want to talk about. Write down our style of play. That is something I want to just sort of cover in a little bit. Let's get our next caller. I want to get some thoughts. In fact, hi, what's your name?
Hi, Shams.
Lovely to meet you, Shams. Welcome to FANZONE. Have you called in before?
No, it's my first time actually.
First time.
Oh,
welcome. I want to know, I just got to write down some notes there on our style of play.
Yeah.
I want to know how you feel about Arteta, what he's deploying in terms of what feels like a more pragmatic approach. Do you think it gives us a better chance of the title?
I think he's still in the middle of figuring out what's the best way to win. Because I remember the first game of the season against Nottingham Forest, he played Thomas Partey right back, and I'm like, what's going on? I have no idea what's going on. I'm confused, and I'm still confused, to be honest, with our style of play. It's like, are we trying to go like Chelsea, Mourinho or something? Things like that, or we still have that gung-ho style in our locker kind of thing. So maybe he's trying to find that balance. Maybe that's why he signed the players that we have signed, like Kai Havertz and everything that has a lot of question marks over him, say the least. So to be honest, I think he's still thinking what's the best way. And I think this team is still in the middle of evolution, like a butterfly before they go to butterfly to be happy, like a cocoon. I think we're still in that stage.
Yeah, fair enough.
And we're still in the top 3, I guess. So not bad.
Shams, what can be done differently for Arsenal to get over the line? Have you thought about? Is there something that is is gleaming at you that you want to talk about in that?
Yeah, about that. So I think there's need to be a mentality shift first and foremost. Now, not to say the players don't have the mentality. It's more of like, look, last season was a great season, but are we here being happy just to compete, or are we here to win trophies? So that's what kind of from last season. Sorry, my camera's a bit, man.
That's fine.
So that's the difference from last season where, I'm kind of disappointed by the Europa League performance and things like that, where it's like we sort of thrown games away. Although this season we got knocked out.
Sorry to cut you. Do you not think that change has happened? Because last season there was Zinchenko say, people are talking about top 4, but no, we can win this league. And I feel like there was a mentality that we was just looking at top 4, but because of last season, I feel like everyone kind of got on board and they saw the possibility of Arsenal actually being able to win the league, especially getting so close. So I feel like, because I've heard people say mentality shift needs to happen, but do you not think that has already happened?
Probably needs to be a bit more towards City kind of level when it comes to mentality, where it's like winning is the expectation, kind of a thing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's no longer like, oh yeah, we are the big boys now. Nah, we need to win something, kind of a thing. Like we still have yet to prove ourselves, kind of mentality. That's where I'm looking at. The second thing probably is the moments where we drop points, and it's how quick we can respond after we drop points. It could be a loss, it could be a draw.
Have we not seen that from Arsenal? Because we've
seen that, but we need to see it probably in more immediate way. Now, if you look at our season where we lost top 4 against Tottenham, one of the reasons why we lost that is because after we drop points, we then go on to lose 3 games, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Or 4 games. Last season, we had that against Liverpool. You could say we're lucky to draw the games.
Shams, we're having audio issues.
Shams, sorry, the audio's gone a bit funny.
Do you know what? I was thinking really crisp audio, really crisp video, and then something just went a bit mad there.
It's a shame. It was interesting.
Yeah, he's making some great points.
Mentality is an interesting one, but I just feel, he was making points. I had to challenge a lot of them because I feel like that they're not valid, but of course, Arsenal have had that. I think they have had that mentality shift. I think they understand what they need to do. And when he said about, bouncing back, I feel like Arsenal bounced back very well. I know the games we played following certain tough games, like the Newcastle, seemingly were easier, but we bounced back straight away and got the points on the board. So, yeah.
Well, You know, when you pose this question, I thought let's have some notes and some ideas in my head ready, and I've sort of got 5 here that I think
5
in terms of what Arsenal can do differently. Some have been mentioned and touched on, but let's just go through. Firstly, something we can't do that much about, although you can regarding squad rotation and managing minutes, but keeping players fit. And by keeping players fit, I don't just mean, keep them away from injury. I mean, make sure Bukayo Saka and Martinelli get the right amount of game time so that come April and May, they're fresh and ready to go. How many times did Sir Alex Ferguson, you wouldn't see Anderson for 3-4 months, and then suddenly he's in that Man United midfield, and you're like, what's going on? You didn't see Berbatov for months. Suddenly he was in the team for a few months in a row. Nani, you'd be like, good player. We're not really seeing much of him. And then bam, he's back in the team. Managing minutes, managing the expectation of certain players, earlier in the season so that come the later part of the season, you can depend on them that little bit more. Can you alternate Trossard and Jesus in this team? Can you alternate Saka and Nelson a little bit so come April and May they're ready and fit to go? But also you need Timber available, you need Partey available, you need Ødegaard available, you need Jesus available. You need these players fit and ready to play because they're our best players. And you need your best player. Well, City went into that, the big treble run in with Gundogan fit and on fire. He's had injury problems in the past. De Bruyne fit and on fire. Haaland fit and on fire. They've all had injury problems, but they were fit and there and ready when it mattered. Foden, Bernardo playing fantastically. Rodri constantly available, and a back four they could depend on. So I do think you need a little bit of luck in that sense, but you can manipulate that in some ways as well. I think, second point, we need to add an extra dimension in January. Now,
that's fair.
Really, I think Arsenal will target 2 players in Jan. I don't think they'll be super expensive ones. I think we're looking at £30 million players maybe. But I think you need to add at least one. Now, whether that is a target man striker, I know you don't want to hear that, whether that is a different dimension up top, whether that is another midfielder because we're not getting what we need out of Havertz, Smith Rowe, Vieira as 8s at the moment. Maybe it's another 6 because Partey has had injury problems and Jorginho, can you rely on him for a whole season? Maybe it's another defender because of the Timber injury and actually the foundations are at the back, whatever it might be. I think they need to add one other dimension at least that just shores up the squad a bit. Third thing, I think experienced players need to step up. I think last season, as we went into the run-in, the players that for me actually thrived on it were Martinelli.
Yep.
Aaron Ramsdale in terms of the big saves, though he made big mistakes as well. He made the Southampton mistake and maybe 1 or 2 others. But I think we need to look at David Raya, 27 years old, be the calming influence at the back. Gabriel, who's been in this back four for 4 years now.
The players that have done it as well, Jesus,
Zinchenko, all of them, absolutely. Thomas Partey. We need them to... Partey
stay fit.
Partey wasn't good at the end of last season.
Tailed off massively.
In the running. We need that from our players. I said make the Emirates a fortress. What I mean by that is don't lose your home games. And also don't have really bad draws. Listen, people say drawing at home to Fulham is a bad one. It can happen. You can draw to... Fulham will sit around between 12th and 15th and they'll put in some decent performances away from home and they can just do that to you. I'm talking... Don't draw at home to a side that's going to get relegated, and we did that with Southampton. We beaten Sheffield United comfortably, we beaten Burnley comfortably. They should be comfortable. We need to ensure that at least that is taken care of. The odd Fulham result will happen, but largely do your job at home. And the last thing is what was mentioned earlier, I think by Ollie. Keep emotions in check and keep calm. We don't need this to be some mad roller coaster because there's so much of the season to go. Now, I think Arsenal and Arsenal fans have actually settled into that this season. I think in the first 5, 6, 7 games, drawing at Fulham, drawing with Tottenham, I think there was this stress that fans were carrying about every bit of drop points, about the fact we weren't scoring as many goals, about the football we were playing, about the fact that Kai Havertz hadn't settled in, about the fact that we didn't really know what we were doing with the 8 and 6 position, the fact that we didn't know about injuries like Partey and Timber. I think actually the fans have settled a little bit and have just acknowledged we're going for something a little bit more long-term here. Now, we will see whether it reaps the rewards of last season in terms of getting into a title race come April. But I think keeping calm and just taking everything as just another game until we get to April, and then we go, okay, now we're really in the thick of it. Now get that bit louder. Now we up the energy levels. Because I just felt that we'd use too much fuel going up to April. last season.
James, thank you for your points, and I will definitely be bringing in some of mine, because mine are some similar, some a little bit different, but I also want to go to the callers as well, which I believe we have callers waiting, and we'll see if they agree with you or have anything different. Dini.
How you doing, my friend?
Big up, James. Big up, Cecil. I'm good. How are you both? You okay?
Yeah, good. Do you think we're going to win the league?
I like that.
Straight
direct.
Do you know what? I genuinely think even more so this season, we have a much better chance than we did last season, because we do have that extra experience. And I think that's one of the key things, even with the running and how it ended last season, the fact that it hurt so much. But the fact that we can play well, that we can play beautiful, scintillating football and blow these teams away, I feel like that belief is going to be key going into this season. So I feel like if you we know Man City are no mugs. We know Man City are no mugs by any means.
They've done a few things. I feel like we can.
They've done quite a couple of things there.
A little bit.
Dibble and dabble, but I'm backing my team for it this season.
Okay, Dee, so let me pressure that then. What do we need to do differently to get us over the line? We spoke about City, done a few things, in their
Wait, for some reason, that's what you've gone bare quiet for some reason.
All right, cool. Let me try and talk directly into you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so what do we need to do differently, Dini, this season? Because you mentioned Man City there. They have done a few things in their recent reign, but what do we need to do? What do Arsenal need to do to get it over the line this season? Because there's a lot more competition, it feels like, so far of what we've seen at the beginning stages of this season. What do we need to do differently?
Do you know what one thing that Man City do well, and they've done it in at least one point in any of their title winning seasons over the last 7 years, is that at some point in the season they do go on like a 14-game winning run where they just look imperious and the league is just frightened of them. There were points last season where there were games where I feel like we could have really put teams to the sword and battered them like 4-5-1, even 6-7-0 or wherever, and we just didn't do it. We were still playing great football, we were still beating the teams. So I feel like when you add that ruthlessness and we have that fear factor where that Arsenal are coming into town, teams know that we're a team that can play and we can beat them because we are much better and we are solid and much more better as a unit. But that fearlessness is like, okay, if we make one mistake, this team is going to batter us. And we need to have them thinking about that, scared about it the night before. We hear stories of sometimes where, I think it was like Rio Ferdinand said it one time, that the night before the game, if he's going to play Arsenal, Thierry Henry's in the back of his head.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We need to have that going into it. And we have that with some players, but we need to stamp that authority now. I'll say that with that. What else is there? Yeah, taking our time, building ourselves up into it instead of going gung-ho with it, taking our time and making sure we have that energy towards the end of the season. Arteta should be managing minutes of the players like a Martinelli, especially a Partey as well. Obviously, he's injured right now, but even so, even managing his minutes when he does come back, he's going to be key when that running does come in. But also, sometimes he needs to take it out of their hands. He said that, Saka wants to play like 60, 70 games in a season. Okay, he can't play every game. As much as he wants to play every game, he's talented. Sometimes you just got to take it out of his hands and be like, no, today is not your day. It's not your day today. And there are other players, like you said, that are in the squad that can step up, that do have the experience. Even Trossard is one of those experienced players, because every time I see him, I think he's a young man, but he's like 28, 29 or something. He is a big man. So there are players that can absolutely step up, and it's just in those key moments, especially the one that annoys me a lot, I still think about a lot, is the Anfield game. When we were 2-0 up, thriving, and then that one moment between Xhaka and Trent, and the whole game just changes, everything corrupts. It's in those moments. Pick your moments when you want to be aggressive. Don't be aggressive when it's a foul, when it's a referee and the crowd has a chance to get up. No, be aggressive and run towards the goal and score a goal, or be aggressive in the next tackle. Make sure you're strong and just defend our team in that way. That's why. Those are the points I have for now, I guess.
I like that. Just remind me, remind me of your, before we move on, that last point, just quickly in a nutshell, just in one sentence, just so I can write it down. You said about be aggressive. Just that.
Be aggressive, but temperate.
So the emotions again. Okay. I like the emotions coming up quite a bit, which is interesting. Because before I move on, is it the emotion? It's emotions from the team, but do we put it as all of us, the fans as well? Or is it just? Yeah, okay.
We can absolutely put it as ourselves.
Okay, let me add that.
Absolutely.
It's funny because sorry, Dina, I don't use Anfield as an example there. Listen, I get what you're saying. That's not without opening the whole did Granit Xhaka cause the Liverpool comeback can of worms, because we know what that will do. You know, was it smart? Maybe not. Was it the reason? Probably not fully. Like, whatever. I actually think sometimes you've got to come through a battle like that. Sometimes you're going to have an Anfield where it's like, actually it is carnage and you need to come through. When I look back at last season, this might be crazy because we've had a long time to sit on it and reflect on that season. That Anfield performance is one of my proudest as an Arsenal fan in terms of the team. I know we threw away 2-goal lead in the title race, and so it's looked on very negatively.
First half was unbelievable.
But first half, first 35 minutes, what we did to Liverpool at Anfield was phenomenal. But also, when actually we were hit with some serious adversity because they came flying out, and we see how they started this season, how they ended last season. Still a great side that have done great things, have some great players. We came through it, and yes, we conceded a late goal, and yes, it was painful, but we came out with something. And I just think it was a pleasure being a part of that battle, and City have been a part of lots of them and lost a lot of them at Anfield. I don't reflect on that game in that way. I think for me it's more the emotions of a Southampton at home. Those are the games I want. The Villa away. What else did we have? There's another game at home. Obviously, we mentioned Bournemouth. I'm going to try and look back at our fixtures from last season. But, those are the ones I think we need to just be more... We need to be more cold, I think, with it.
Yeah, and I feel like that's where, in terms of the ruthlessness, that's what I was talking about. Be colder, beat those teams, and just get it done, get it over and done with. And I feel like with the games, I thought, to be fair, you did remind me of that, because we even could have won it at the end of the game if that pass was just a little bit better to Martinelli. I still remember it in the back of my mind. But I feel like with those games now, it's even those big away games. Beat the teams. I don't want, even though that it was a good performance and that we did hold on, we go to Anfield in a couple of weeks' time. Let's just win that game 2-0. Do you know what I mean? Let's actually win it. Let's go to Etihad. Let's win. Let's go to Man United. We've got to turn
West
these
Ham,
results around.
when we go to London Stadium, same thing.
That trip to Anfield's going to be mad.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be serious. But even with the Aston Villa one as well, because that's a tough ground we went to, and we did win 4-2. Instead of winning that game 4-2, let's win it 4-0. Like, these are the things that we need to be doing now in terms if we're going to win the league. Just be a bit more ruthless. But I do hear what you're saying. In the context of things like, definitely we can understand if a game is tight and we do come out of it, it is a battle. Because we do need, you're right, we do need to come through those battles. And it would be nice to be like, we did that. But let's just try and be cleaner at it.
Thank you very much, Dini. Always good to see you and speak to you. Thank you so much, my brother.
Every time. You take care. Bless. And also one last thing as well. The producers are always lovely. So big up the producers every single time. You always make me feel welcome. I'm sure they make everyone feel welcome as well. So big up.
Well, at least they treat you well.
Yeah, they put a photo of me from last year. Pagans.
I don't know what to say. Didn't
even tell me about that.
It sounds like a you-man problem.
Yeah, it probably is a us-man problem.
Don't even bring them up.
They're a nightmare. No, I'm joking. Big up, Dini. Thank you, man. Piss off production. Next caller, please. Before I give my thoughts. Hey, my friend. What's your name?
Guys? Max.
Max. Hello. How are you? Okay.
How's it going?
Good. Let me do what James did with our last caller. Do you think Arsenal can win the league this season?
Will win the league.
Will win the league. Not can actually. Will they?
Honestly, I do. If you go back to August, seeing the summer window that we had, spending 200 million, breaking our transfer record, I thought it's definitely a possibility that we can win the league, especially because I think the biggest issue that Arsenal have had recently is their squad depth issue. And so seeing us spend 200 million on top and building on top of the season that we've just had, I think it's a possibility that we can win the league. The issue that I have is, and the question being, what do Arsenal need to do differently?
Yep.
I look at seasonal trends over the last 5-6 years for Arsenal. I think the biggest problem, the most glaringly obvious problem, is the way that they fall off at the end of the season.
Yep.
So I look at 18-19, lost out to top 4 to Spurs. 21-22, lost out top 4 to Spurs. 22-23, the season we just challenged, lost out the title to City. And I can attribute that to our lack of squad depth, but we've just spent 200 million building on top of a title challenging season. There's no excuse for that now. And so I think Arteta has to, well, James mentioned it earlier, he has to manage the minutes of the players properly, especially considering we're now in a serious competition in Champions League. I'm sure he's going to go for it in the FA Cup as well. So I think we just need to manage, I think Arteta needs to manage the minutes of the players really well. And we have to see consistency and ruthlessness towards the back end of the season, because it's been too long where Arsenal just fall off a cliff.
Yeah, I agree. I think the way we're ending games is crucial, and I think we're sort of alluded to this new sort of style of football that seems to be a little bit more future-proofing of that. But where I do have fears, while I've tried to argue that point, where I do have fears is, can we just switch it on when we have to towards the end? Is this about playing all 38 games like this? Because I do believe defence wins titles. I do believe you need the solid foundations. If you are very, very difficult to beat, you're going to win most of those games at the very least, because you just set yourself that foundation. But can Arsenal switch it on? Because City did. And as fans, we all saying City will turn up. City will win 10 in a row. City will do something mad. And they did. So Arsenal showed last season they can put together a very serious run, 7 games in a row, or 9 wins in 10, or even, what do we do, 12 wins in 14? That's a proper run, even if there is a defeat or a draw in there. Can Arsenal just switch it on in March and April when they need to?
Are you asking me if we can do that?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think it really depends on injuries. I don't see our football being sustainable with Kai Havertz playing in midfield. I'm not sure how sustainable it is playing Jorginho at the 6. I think it really does depend on injuries. I think it also depends on the January window that Arsenal have.
Yeah, massive.
I think they really have to invest. I don't know, I would ideally want a backup to Saka, maybe another midfielder as well. I do think injuries are a huge part of it, but the players just have to, and the manager, there just has to be consistency and ruthlessness that we haven't seen and at the back end of the season the last 5 or whatever years.
Okay. Well, listen, thank you so much for your call, my brother. It's very good to hear from you. And
thank you.
And I've got it written down.
Nice to join you, man.
That's the main point. Thank you so much. I was going to read some of the super chats before I get into some things I want to discuss briefly of what I thought about over this period of time. Simon Paul with a super chat says, from his interviews, he wants to control the game deep in the opposition third, then create chance after chance. We rarely had our best 11. More to come. Lee Jacobs with a super chat says, would love to call in, gents. We haven't hit our full potential yet. Hope we build momentum gradually towards the end, especially with the big players coming back. Jezza 27, defensively and out of position, we are the best in the Premier League. That's been Mikel's focus. Passing maps show we are playing in a U shape. We need to be more vertical to access the zone 14. This is critical. That sounds like a James tactical insight.
He's not wrong.
Super chat there, going for more down the middle instead of using the wings. I hear it. Lee Jacobs says we need to be assertive. Last season we had moments where other teams saw that seriousness, knew exactly who they played. We were cold and ruthless. Now, just quickly, what your points, by the way, brilliant, and I've got them written down. And I echo a lot of them, and we will kind of touch towards the end of the show about all the ones. One thing for me definitely is, like I mentioned at the top of the show, if we have our fully fit side, I believe we really can be up there and doing it. So, injuries and fitness is definitely imperative that needs to be sorted at Arsenal Football Club, and it's happening for all teams. So
it's a proper Premier League wide problem.
Exactly that. So I have to understand the context of the whole situation, but that is something that needs to improve. For me as well, game management in a sense of players that know how to see out games. Last season we went 2-0 up and teams got back into it. We got to 2-0, and I've been on a pitch as a player, and you're dominating a game and you just want to start having fun. But we don't need that. We need that. I don't know if it's mentality or if it's just game management. I think Jorginho does it so well. I think that's why I think he's actually essential, I think, for Arsenal really challenging this season.
Jorginho?
We need players like that see out games. That sort of player. I think a lot of the younger players want to continue running at the defender or trying to get goals instead of, okay, look, we're winning this game. Let's contain it. Let's manage it. Let's get the crowd on side and really lock down and get the 3 points instead of doing what Martinelli and Saka want to keep doing, run at their fullbacks, try and get more goals. You need to be more advanced mentally. I think we need more players like that, whether that's in January or players on the pitch when it comes towards the end of the season. this is one that's got not even left field, but I really thought about managing the dressing room. Right, Arteta's been superb at getting rid of big personalities and getting everyone on one track. How I need you to think and how I need you to play, that's how I want it. That's how we're going to win games. We did it last season. Ramsdale and Raya, it's not a dressing room problem at the moment. I don't believe. It might be, I'm not in the dressing rooms, but it's not a problem at the moment. But I believe that potentially could be one. When Timber returns back, where does he play? Is he going to push out players that, or cause a dynamic within the dressing room that can go against Arteta? Now, if you have Ramsdale, one of the back line maybe faltering in the mindset of we're in this together. Maybe a striker situation. If we look to keep Eddie and don't upgrade, and Eddie starts going against the manager as well, that can really affect a team, especially in the latter stages. I feel like you need to be ruthless, but also make sure you don't cause an atmosphere that can really affect you when it comes to the later stages of the season. I think that's very imperative. So you have to be very aware of that when letting players down, or if you're going to look to move on. I think having Havertz in the side as well, right now is not a problem, by the way. But I think other players might look at it and say, if they're being dropped or not getting minutes because you're so adamant that it's going to work, make sure it works, because that can cause issues within the change room and that can derail you as well. So that is something that's a bit left field. But
I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Really?
No, because the one thing Arsenal have done really well over the last few years, with Edu very much helping drive this with Arteta as well, is just a bit of a no-nonsense policy. And there's a hierarchy has been established. Mikel Arteta is the boss. There's no player power here. You're not all going to down tools and we're going to get rid of the manager. We're going to get rid of you before we get rid of the manager.
That's what I'm saying. But you have to get rid of them then. You have to get rid of the players. But
they know that. But that's been done. Mustafi, David Luiz, Kolasinac, Aubameyang, Lacazette. By the way, I'm not saying they all had terrible attitudes. I'm not saying that. But they're all gone. Mesut Ozil, Bernd Leno, Hector Bellerin. If you weren't either at the level quality-wise or mentally, you're gone. You
have to be ruthless in that though. But if he keeps those players and it harvests though, which you're right, there's proof of track record that he hasn't done that. But I'm saying, make sure you can. In January, make sure you continue that.
But it's all driven by result. If Arsenal were having Man United season, on the brink of going out the Champions League, sitting sixth, lost 5 games in the league, and Kai Havertz starting every game, maybe you then start to get people going, what is going on? From what we did last season, I don't get these signings. He's playing and he's been crap, but I'm not playing. You're going to get a lot of that.
Yeah.
But Arsenal are getting results. So you don't have much of a... Say Fabio Vieira. I like Fabio Vieira. Yeah, I think he's got more on the ball quality than Kai Havertz. I would like to see him, especially in Odegaard's absence, playing in that position. But he hasn't been. Now Vieira can complain, I can complain, but Mikel Arteta, bar Newcastle, basically point to a load of results and go, I really don't care. Fair enough. And look, maybe down the line, if Kai Havertz continues to struggle and Arsenal start dropping points, not just because of it, but it's a fact or whatever, then yeah, you dig that argument back up. But what I'm trying to say is, I just think there won't be a problem. This Ramsdale Raya thing, for example, we've just seen some quotes from his... apparently when you watch the video, it's with Highbury Squad, I believe. Ramsdale's dad is a bit more... You take it slightly differently when you actually listen to it rather than when you just see the quotes in the rounds. So basically, obviously, he's not happy that his son has been dropped, and he's probably understanding of it from one perspective, but disappointed from another. But I don't think anyone within the club can really, unless you really know the details, obviously we don't, I think anyone can complain that much, because Arsenal are ultimately getting results. And yeah, we've had some bad moments like West Ham away, like Newcastle away. But looking across the whole season, we're sort of doing our thing. And so I don't think this is going to be a problem. I don't think there's going to be any behind the scenes problems that should derail our season, even if Arteta does have to be ruthless.
Okay, but I want him to be ruthless. I'm saying if it harvests towards the end, it can become problem. I've been in dressing rooms where player power is a serious thing. But my last thing is obviously squad depth, and people have mentioned it. But like when Martinelli's on, he's ferocious. Imagine being a defender and you see him come on and he starts, and you get him run the whole game. Then you see a Trossard come on. That level is still quite high. We see Man City, Grealish, you have Doku. They ask different questions of the fullback, but that is non-stop concentration to the end. You need that. When you look at our striker situation, Jesus is a problem to deal with, but you need someone, again, that comes on and is ferocious. Haaland and Alvarez, they ask different questions of a defender. And
sure.
Huh?
Yeah, sure. No, I agree,
so I'm saying that is something we need to look at when it comes to that department, and also on the right wing, Bukayo Saka. Even putting a Jesus as a Bukayo Saka second on the right, that's asking your defender many questions that's going to keep you tired throughout the season. I feel like we need to improve on certain positions when it comes to that, and it's more this the attacking side, because our second string aren't as strong. But that's clear and obvious. But anyway, we have a few more callers to kind of wrap up. Hello. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Oh, you good to see you again. You well?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Good. Let's just join the conversation. I wasn't going to start with this question, but I like the way you do it straight. Will Arsenal win the league?
It depends on a couple of things for me. It depends what we don't burn out like we did last year. That's one thing I am worried about. I'm worried that we're going to go all out like at the beginning of the season like we did last year, and then get to the point in the season where City turn on and become the real Man City, and then we just burn out. I'm worried about that. But at the same time, I do have faith in the squad and Arteta this season.
Yeah. Is there a way to bring you to the centre of your screen? So I don't know if that might be the phone. I know it has some. There we go. Nice. You want to see the full kit as well. Like,
there you go. We've got a comment here, and I want to know your thoughts on this. Sorry, what's your name, by the way?
Alfie.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Ricky says sometimes results can be papering over cracks, James, and he's not wrong, but Man City have played brilliant football and still only a point ahead of us, and Tottenham have played brilliant football and they're a point behind. I don't think we have enough data this season to be coming to really conclusive answers on what style of play is going to get you over the line this season. What is the right way to be approaching things? Is this style of play going to give us more energy at the end of the season? Are we doing too much, saying all these things? What do you think?
So, with me, it's like the Premier League's such a hard league to predict that you don't know. Man City got Liverpool next. They might go to Anfield, drop points there, and then we might go on a really good run and win our next 5 games, say, and they might drop points, and all of a sudden we're top of the league with how many points difference? Like, you don't know what's going to happen. Like, we could go to Luton and get a win. They could go to Luton and get a draw. Nobody knows. It's completely mad. So I do think we just have to just stick in there, get a couple more players in certain positions, because we're not that far off. Like, we're not playing all right. We've got one less. I think Raya's got one less clean sheet than Sam Johnson, who's got the most clean sheets in the league. Same as Edson. So we've got the same clean sheets as them. So we're not doing that much different to City. But I do worry about Liverpool a little bit.
It's interesting. I'm not on the Liverpool. I don't fear Liverpool as much. And look, wow. And let me just say, right, what Jurgen Klopp's achieved, unbelievable. I think some people make the argument he's the best manager in the world. I don't argue that too much. I mean, for me, Pep edges it, but if you give it to Klopp, but I understand
because of he had less resources. I know there's that whole argument.
What he did with that Liverpool side is unbelievable.
Fair.
The points tallies. And I think this Liverpool team is a number 6 and maybe one more player like up top or someone. It will maybe Nunez becomes it. And then I'll be like, yeah. So it's not to say that I don't take them seriously. I think they're brilliant, but I don't think they're ready for the title because they concede a lot of shots and a lot of chances, and teams have moments against them. And I think, but.
It's hard though because they got Europa League, we got Champions League. So Klopp probably has the opportunity to rotate more in the Europa League than we can in the Champions League.
For sure.
And they've done it before. They're the only team to beat Man City.
Well,
we haven't.
So
in the league, like I know in games we have, but not in for the 38 games. They're the only team to beat Man City.
That's true to a degree, but let me challenge that because. You say they've been and done it. Szoboszlai hasn't. McAllister hasn't. Endo hasn't. Curtis Jones wasn't a regular in that team. Harvey Elliott wasn't a regular in that team. Luis Diaz has challenged City, but once, and he was only there for 6 months of it. Nunez hasn't. Gakpo hasn't. So that's a lot of players that are relying on the forward line to have the experience and the know-how and the quality to keep up with City. And then you've got Van Dijk, who's been brilliant this season, by the way, like getting back to his best. Yeah. But they've had injury problems with Konate and other defenders. Trent Alexander-Arnold's position is kind of being reinvented. Has Robson got to the form of previous seasons? He's got an injury now. I think there's a lot of questions around Liverpool. I think they're very, very, very good. I'd be surprised if they finish more than 10 points away from the eventual winner. Like I think they'll be close, but I don't think they're going to get over the line. But
I don't know.
I respect them, just not to the heights that everyone else does.
You can also say that we don't have people who haven't done it before.
Absolutely, we don't.
None of our Jorginho and Havertz, they won the big trophies.
No, you're right. We don't.
But
I
not
agree.
at Arsenal. It's at Chelsea. But I do feel like the players should go there and go, like, be a little bit more like annoyed at Man City. They took off of us. They should go there and prove everybody wrong.
I agree.
Like, everybody thought Spurs would do it this season. Spurs fans were having the time of their life. They had a couple of injuries and now they're dipping. And I don't want that to happen to us. So like what happened to Saliba last year.
I agree on the point you were making about us lacking the experience. I totally hear all that. But where I think we do have an edge on Liverpool is I think our squad's incredibly balanced. I do think we lack one or two. I'd like a out and out eight. I'd like a proper prolific striker. But if you get our best team out there, which I believe is Royal Ramsdale, take your pick, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko or Timber, Ødegaard, Partey, Rice, Saka, Jesus, Martinelli. I don't see a flaw in that squad. Some people might go, well, Jesus, does he get enough goals? But Martinelli and Saka chip in massively. Ødegaard gets it to you. The midfield is phenomenal, and that's a back four that can defend and play. I think when our first 11's out there, and that is the question. That's why I said in one of my points, keep the team fit. That's not always in Arsenal's control, but keep that 11 fit. And we know that he's looking at that because Rice is playing more box to box with Jorginho as a 6 now. That team can win the league. I'm confident.
I know, but I'm worried that thing with Arteta, because I'm thinking if we get to like a Champions League semi, say, or the FA Cup final, my only worry is if it's happened before with Bukayo, say, he does overplay Bukayo. And I'm really worried that Arteta will go there and get all like, oh, we're in the Champions League semi-final, we could go to a final, or we can get to the FA Cup final, and then forget about the league sort of thing. So I'm worried like he's going to go all out in all 3 competitions, play Saka in all 3, and then completely utterly, he's going to get injured, say Martinelli might get injured, and then we're sort of like, okay, now what, then we lose league. That's my only worry about Arteta.
Alpha, we have to go on to the next one. Just to close off on that, but there is also, you know, we might have a replacement or a number 2 by that time we get to the semi-finals if we do make it there, because it'll be post-January. But also on top of that, there's also that case study of Liverpool that just didn't fluke it, of course, but their 11 stayed fit and they got it done. They stayed fit for the season and they'd done it.
And when they had injuries after that, they nearly fell out the top 4, but they made it. And then when they had injuries last season and problems, they fell out the top 4. So when they've had injuries, they've struggled.
Right.
For me, I'll just say this quickly before we go. Arsenal fans shouldn't say we're going to win the league now. We should believe we should wait till after January. See what Arsenal do in the transfer window, and then we can fully say, look, we can go for this, or no, we don't have enough players in the squad. That's what I think. Just wait till Jan.
You made some great points. Thanks for joining us, mate.
Thank you.
To chat, Alfie. Thank you. And our final caller joining us is, hey, how you doing? What's your name?
Yes, please. Liam.
What's going on, Liam? You good, yeah?
How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you lot doing?
Yeah, good. We were just having a bit of a debate around Liverpool. Who for you is in this title race? Like, obviously we know Tottenham and Villa points-wise are there, but who for you are the teams that legitimately have a really good chance of winning it?
City, of course. And then I'm going to have to chuck in Liverpool. I think the rest of the teams, like you said, James, just a minute ago, they're quite unbalanced. I think United are missing quite a lot of pieces. Chelsea have got the pieces, but it's just about, you know, getting their best players together and then fit and then get to the philosophy. But I really do think once the dust settles, it's going to be us and City again, with Liverpool just behind us. But, you know, the Prem's so unpredictable. Like, look at Gary O'Neill at Wolves. He's arguably putting up results that really a club like Wolves shouldn't be getting, but they're getting done by VAR, stuff like that. But there's just so many other factors. There's the teams from 4th to 8th that we can look at, and any given day they can take points from us from City. So,
what do we need to do differently to close off? What do you think we need to do differently to win the title?
I noted down 3 things. So, stay unpredictable,
Ooh.
be ruthless in our decision making, and manage minutes and injuries.
I love that first point.
Yeah, so do I. Because
that stay unpredictable. I love that. Great point.
But give us more, because it sounds lovely, but in a sense of stay unpredictable, in what context?
Formation, tactics,
right?
How we approach games. I mean, look at at the end of last season against Nottingham and Wolves, Partey was right back with that, building up with the free and him inverting, with the double invert, stuff like that. Have more tools in the arsenal. So when we go to games, because games are played on the day, they're not played on paper. So Arteta might rock up and West Ham are playing a back five or a back three, and all week they've been training, different variations for that. So obviously we're not in the training ground. We don't know what they are preparing for on a week-to-week basis, but I think that's the main one. Just stay unpredictable, have many tools in the arsenal, and just see how we can dominate games, because I feel like this year I'm a lot more relaxed defensively. Teams are not cutting us open. I know Elanga went on that mad run and Waneri scored, which was a good goal, and that's just quality. That's just elite football for you. But I feel like if Arteta does use that galaxy brain and he does conjure up some stuff, so that we're not as predictable as last year, I feel like we can go even closer. But
Man City last season, when they got into their stride, I do think they took some inspiration from around the league, but they moved John Stones from a centre-back into a libero type, centre-back who moves into midfield. And suddenly people started going, what is this? Why are we outnumbered in every position, yet they've got 4 centre-backs on the pitch, yet they've only got 3 defenders in build-up, yet that is unpredictable. That is asking different questions. And I want to see that.
Right back?
So I don't care as long as we win. But he did something in the very first game against Forest where he played Havertz in a 10 with Ødegaard still in the central midfield. And I thought, this is interesting. I wonder if we're going to see any more of this as the season goes on. Like, I do think he's got some ideas, Mikel. I don't know if we'll see them, but I think he's got some ideas for the second half of the season.
That's the thing. I want him to be ruthless. Like, he's getting further and further along in his Arsenal journey, and he's not the novice anymore. I mean, you can't be a novice and go second over 38 games. So in that sense, I feel like he needs to just be more ruthless, believe in himself more. And if he's going to try stuff, just do it and, reap the consequences. Because if, like last year, we probably had about 2 or 3 ways to play, and we only really saw the second and third variation after the title was gone, basically, after those 3 draws. So I feel like just be a bit proactive, trust in the squad more, trust in Reece. Fabio let him down, but trust in Fabio. And also to the other caller's points about managing injuries and stuff, footballers are never 100% fit.
Yeah.
Like, I know, Cecil, you played. I don't think you can recall a time you've ever been 100% fit.
No, never. Every player is always
same for elite sports people. So just do the best of what you can and be unpredictable. And I think even if we don't win it, we'll be very close or go far in every competition bar the Carabao Cup.
Legend. Listen, thank you so much. Love the call, man. Thank you.
Thanks for calling, Liam. Appreciate it, mate.
Thank you. Respect.
In a little bit.
Wicked.
Shall I read these final super chats?
Please do.
TJ says, Arsenal playing this offence where any of our wingers can play as a striker. Don't you think we need more like-minded wingers than getting Ivan Toney? Ivan can only play one position. It's a fair point. I like the idea of a Pedro Neto. He's got an injury now. Lee Jacob says, we need a world-class big-name finisher to win the big games instead of not lose. Can Mikel Arteta handle such a player? His big-name track record is not good. Liberty says, if Arsenal can challenge Liverpool, surely can too. Liberty, I agree. I've never said Liverpool won't challenge. I've said I'd be surprised if they finish further than 10 points away from City. They will be there. I'm saying ready to win it. I don't think they got the balance of Arsenal squad and the quality of City's yet, or the experience of City's.
Does a big high-profile striker throw us off balance for Arsenal? Or do you think that improves our balance?
Well, we keep talking about what Klopp and Liverpool did with all these amazing sides that got 99 points, 100 points, 92 points. And it was Firmino leading the line. So I don't know. People obsess about it. I'm not saying I don't want it. Of course I want it.
I don't know if it
but I don't think it's like a guaranteed, right, that's it, title won. Because we've got, a 30-goal a season striker. I know that we had Van Persie, who was 30-goal season striker, we didn't get near the title. We had Aubameyang, who was a 30-goal season striker, we didn't get near the title. Yeah, you want that marriage made in heaven, you want the two, but I'm not
You're not fixated.
I think it could help massively. I think it could, but I'm not like get it and it's all perfect. It's all done.
That's how I open the show.
Sorry, a final super chat from Ricky says a 3-horse race may benefit us more than a 2-horse race. I agree. Man City faced Liverpool in the first game back from the international break, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And that's a game I'm really excited about. Last season, I thought, go on Liverpool, find something for us, and they did at Anfield, to be fair. But now I'm like, a draw, whatever, someone's dropping points.
This was me.
And we need to try and take advantage of it.
This was me.
I think it's a good thing.
At Chelsea versus Man City. I hate Chelsea. They're absolutely passionate. One of my most hated clubs, but they got the draw and I was happy against City because of how we're at. Quickly, just to round up, emotions for everyone, not just the team. That's fans and team included. These are the things we wrote down. Our style of play, still feel the manager's figuring it out. Mentality shift was what one of the callers said. Keeping players fit. For me, that is, by the way, the number one for me, but it's not as easy as just saying it. Need an extra dimension in January, whether that's a striker, a midfielder or both. Experienced players step up. James is one, like that one, because last season they didn't really do so. Make Emirates a fortress. Don't lose your home games, very important. Squad depth, there's loads of that. We need to improve on that. Only a few signings and we can get it over the line. So people is again referring to only need a few, not too many. Stay unpredictable, really like that last caller there. With formations and tactics, be different, change it up. Be ruthless, Mikel Arteta, trust in yourself, and then injuries, which we mentioned before as well. Keep players fit. So that is it. There's that. We solved it. Arsenal win the league now. There you go, Mikel. There's your notes. I'm joking. That is it for today's fans, and thank you everyone that's joined us. And I really did enjoy this conversation. Hopefully we can have some more of this, and we'll see. That's it. That's how it ends. We'll see what happens going forward. But thank you very much. We'll see you again very soon. Take care, people. Peace.